November the 6th, which means that the election is over and done with, it's gone. So whether you like the result, you don't like the result, it's there it is. I'm not going to give you my opinion on it. I've got my own, and you have your own. And the beauty of a democracy is that when things happen, you accept the results and you move on. And as always, you know, they always say the pendulum swings one way, then it swings the other way. And it's the same in politics. It swings in both directions, one way, then it goes back the other way. So that's all I got to say about the election. I don't have a lot of time tonight because I have to be I'm part of our Be the Change committee, and I'm supposed to be on there at 6 o'clock Central, which is in like 7 minutes. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be honest with you. I've not been thrilled with the readings so far this month. And that's really nothing to do with the writer. It's just me interfacing with the information. And so far, I have not interfaced with it in a way that has been, shall I say, something in line with how I would present things. But everybody's different. And if you found it good, that's okay, really. I mean, it really is. An Abundance of Grace. First quote is from Rachel Harding. I had to look her up. I didn't know who she was. There's a bunch of Rachel Hardings out there, as you might guess. And one of them, let me just see. One of them is, and I think this is the right one. She's an associate director of the Gandhi Harner King Center for the Study of Religion and Democratic Renewal at the Lift School of Theology in Denver. I think that is who we are. There's a bunch of other ones around. Dr. Rachel Harding, there's somebody in pharmacology, but I think we're on the right one here. So there we are. What did she say? She said, and because of the quote, I'm sure I got the right one. There is no scarcity, there is no shortage, no lack of love, of compassion, of joy in the world. There is enough. There is more than enough. There is no end to grace. And we're all instruments of grace. The more we give it, the more we share it. The more we use it, the more the divine makes. So there you are. And Ernest Holmes on the subject of grace. Science of Mind textbook, page 233. Grace is the givingness of the Spirit to its creation and is not a special law, but it is a specialized one. In other words, grace is, but we need to recognize it. It is not something the divine imposed on us, but it is the logical result of the correct acceptance of life and the correct relationship to the Spirit, which is somewhat different than what I was taught about grace. Kind of different because I was told that grace is something freely given by God, by the divine, and I was supposed to be in a state of grace. In other words, I was supposed to be one with God, but not in the sense of one that we talk about now, but I was supposed to be in God's good books, as it were, without sin, as it were, or without any major sin. So that was being in a state of grace. And this is what our writer this month's got to say. He says, grace is the givingness of Spirit. It's kind of similar to what I was taught growing up. By accepting the idea of grace, we come to see ourselves as one with everything living in a universe of abundance. That's a New Thought idea. Grace helps us acknowledge room for differences and to embrace diversity of appearance, of opinion, of actions. Grace helps us to see our own failings when others stumble and then express compassion. So in other words, we don't get too big for our boots. We don't think we're the only ones around who matter. And we accept that we have failings, which makes it easier to accept, excuse me, I don't know what's going on, to accept other people's failings. I really don't know what's going on. Forgiveness fuels grace. We forgive ourselves, atone for our digressions, make amends where appropriate, and move forward with a clear consciousness. I would say a clear conscience, but anyway. We forgive others and make space to accept who they are, setting healthy boundaries where appropriate, grace allows us to move forward. No grievance. Grace helps us to deal with disappointment. Lots of people around the country today are dealing with disappointment, and to accept what we don't like, to have patience while events unfold, and to practice self-nurturing behaviors as a matter of course. Because things have gone wrong, or we've done things wrong, we forgive ourselves and we move on. When things go wrong outside of our control, we accept the fact that that's happened. We still treat for how we would like the end result to be, but we accept that things move on. Taking care of ourselves becomes routine. We know our own value and we live in the world in an empowered way. That's probably the critical part of this whole message. We know our own value and we live in the world in an empowered way. Grace paves the way for healing. Healing requires revealing what it is that needs to be healed and accepting that healing and accepting that healing is necessary. It also requires the difficult work of making the actual changes needed within and without to facilitate that healing. Grace is a spiritual lubricant that facilitates that process. We all live in grace. So my question is this: what does grace mean to you? It means lots of different things. I'll give you some dictionary definitions here. In theology, it's the freely given, unmerited favor of love from God. It's the influence or spirit of God operating in humans to regenerate or strengthen them. It's a virtue or excellence of divine origin. It's also called a state of grace. That meant you weren't in a state of sin. It also means moral strength. It's got lots of everyday definitions. It's the elegance of form, manner, motion, or action. So grace has got a lot of different meanings. And I would go so far as to say that whatever grace means to you is correct for you, providing you've given a reasonable amount of thoughts about it. So that will be my message here. First of all, we're one with ourselves. Then we realize that we're expressions of the divine. And then on that strong foundation, it allows us to go and accept other people as they are, with all their faults, foibles, failings, etc. Doesn't mean to say we don't get upset with people. It doesn't mean to say that we accept behavior that is way off the norm. We don't have to accept behavior that is, quote, wrong, unquote, or bad or evil. But it does mean to say, in the words of the old expression, we forgive the sinner, but not the sin. We pardon the sinner, but not the sin. So we separate the two. So the affirmations, because he's given us 4 of them. I live in grace. I accept that I'm one with spirit and with all of creation. I take time to contemplate this daily. I forgive and move on. So all pretty good affirmations. Reverend Lisa is going to be around about 9:30 tomorrow. I'll be back at 5. Hopefully, I'm trying to think ahead on Thursday. I think I should be back at 5 o'clock. Today was a heck of a rush because I have been here, there, and everywhere, but there you are. So just remember this. I think one of the greatest talents that exists is to accept ourselves as we are, with all our faults and failings and our strengths as well, and our good points, and then to move on from the stuff we don't like, but at the same time to always be forgiving ourselves and to accept ourselves. And when we can do that, then we can start accepting and forgiving other people. Because I promise you, if you cannot forgive and accept yourself, you cannot genuinely forgive and accept somebody else. But when you can forgive and accept yourself, you can forgive other people and you can accept them as they are. So that's it. I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.